And these are just things that I honestly wish I knew. Also in the UK, can you relate to just no sunlight? Like, I don't want to, actually don't even know if I can tell you this. The thing that a lot of people do wrong is not, honestly there's a lot of things that people do wrong. Hey girlies, welcome back to my YouTube channel. We are joined today on my couch because comfiness is just a priority to me right now. It's cold in the UK and I just want to be nice and cozy. So today in this video we're gonna be going through basically like everything that you might be doing wrong when it comes to glute growth and growing your glutes. Just as a reference, this was me probably a year and 8-9 months ago now, basically something along those lines. This is me then, and then this is me literally last week. So huge difference. And I've been doing this for a very, very long time. To give a little backstory, I've been training for about 7-8 years now. So I've definitely had my mistakes, fair share of mistakes, and fair share of things that I wish I did not waste time doing, because I could have gotten a lot more glute growth a lot faster if I had just avoided these mistakes that I'm about to share with you. So yeah, this is a very important video because I feel like it's just nice to know these things, because then you can completely avoid making the same mistakes as me. I've definitely been through a journey with my glute growth that basically made me lose all my muscle mass. I wasn't eating, wasn't going to the gym, lost a lot of muscle, and then this is me just rebuilding, restarting over and rebuilding it. And it's been so fast this time around because I go into the gym and I know what I'm doing, I know what I'm eating, and it just makes the progress, like the consistency as well, like everything I know how to do this time around makes the progress come so freaking fast. And I want to share the exact things that I do and what I avoid doing in order to make that happen as quick as possible. Oh, I'm getting a call. It's a FaceTime. Say hi to the YouTube people.
Hello, YouTube people.
So I actually have like proper chapters for each thing because there was just so much that I needed to say, and I was like, oh, let me break this down. So you will find all the chapters down below as well, so you can, if you already know something, you're like, yeah, I get it, I'm just gonna skip, but then go ahead. That's fine by me, although if you love me, you would watch the video fully. Chapter number 1, aka point number 1, don't know why I'm calling it a chapter, this isn't a book, but point number 1 is proper training. Now, I would say that this is the most important point, but it's not really, because there is no most important point. They're all kind of gathered together in togetherness to make a huge conglomerate of importantness.
What?
I hope that made sense. But yeah, because they're all equally as important really as each other. You need to have them all working smoothly together in order to see the results that you really want to see. Not just one or two of these. Like, it's a group effort, you know? It's a group effort. The thing that a lot of people do wrong is not, honestly there's a lot of things that people do wrong, and there's a lot of things that I've done wrong in the past when I was training, and probably the biggest one is having so much like variety, going in, doing whatever you feel like doing, just being like, what's my favorite exercise today? And then just doing that and nothing else. And it's really important to have the right training plan. So usually I'll have an exercise in the shortened position, which is either hip thrust or calves glute bridges or calves hip thrust. And then I'll have an exercise in the lengthened position, which is usually RDLs, sumos, typically like deadlifty type of actions, heavy compound movements. And then also a unilateral exercise, which is, you know, a single leg exercise. So you're kind of targeting half of your body at a time or a single leg at a time, and this will really help with muscle imbalances. So if you tend to have like a stronger glute on the other side, or maybe this quad ends up picking up a lot more of the overall weight on your deadlift or your like compound exercises, it's just good to even everything out and make it all very sort of 50-50, and that's really where unilateral exercises come in, because you can train and make sure your like both sides are equal. So yeah, highly recommend always doing one of those for sure. And then finally, isolations. Now these are kickbacks, hyperextensions, anything that is extremely isolating to the glutes. They're a great little addition to add in as well. Basically, this is probably the best structure of a training plan, the best sort of basic structure of a training plan, but it's not to say that this will necessarily be the best one for you. I think a big mistake as well is training like everybody else, because an example of this is if you are someone that has extremely dominant quads, let's say your quads like take no effort at all and they're just suddenly this big, and your glutes just do not grow and they are the most stubborn things ever and they just don't budge, and then you prioritize compound lifts a lot more than like shortened positions, so like hip thrusts and calves glute bridges, you're not training like relative to what you need. Some people can get away with doing many other compound lifts and their glutes will feel like get hit the most out of doing those, but some other people, your quads will maybe take over, or your hamstrings will take over, or you'll have a dominant muscle, and in those cases I do actually think it's like appropriate to take down the amount of volume that you're doing from the compound lifts and from the, you know, the unilateral exercises and stick those into hip thrusts, for example, because hip thrusts are going to wreck your glutes, and you know, kickbacks are really good as well, but kickbacks you can't load as much onto them. That's the only downfall with kickbacks. Obviously you can't do a massive heavy weight, so they are more of like a supplement exercise. But hip thrusts or calves glute bridges or calves hip thrusts, they are going to be like your the golden standard of glute gains, especially targeted glute gains. So that's something to consider as well. I think a lot of people just jump in and they just like, yeah, like I'm gonna just do whatever everyone else is doing, and I'm gonna do, you know, a million RDLs and I'll have the massive, like I'll have huge glutes. And that is just not the case. And that was a mistake I made massively as well early in my journey, because I am very quad dominant. Like my quads, they will grow like fast. Like they will grow very, very fast. And a mistake I made was like I never prioritized hip thrusts and I never prioritized like the golden exercises, and I did a lot of, you know, sumos, RDLs, squats, lunges, etc., which are still great exercises, but then I would find myself growing a lot in like quads, and my glutes were just stubborn and they just didn't grow as much as I really wanted them to. Like I wanted them to stand out more, and I found that I minimized a lot of the volume I was putting into RDLs, for example, and I stuck those in like extra volume into hip thrust, and my glutes exploded. Like they really did. So yeah, find out whether you need a balanced plan, because it's still important to grow your hamstrings and your quads as well, to kind of like give a nice, pretty even proportion to everything. But yeah, just figure that out, because if you're kind of getting really massive legs but then you're like, my glutes just don't budge, then that's a little switch you can make that will honestly make the world of a difference. RDLs and sumo deadlifts are fantastic for glutes. They will really, really, really help to grow your glutes, especially because of how much you can like load them. If you are a quad dominant person, it's not gonna grow the same amount, if that makes sense. So you need to balance that out in your plan. I actually don't even know if I can tell you this, but I do have many really, really, really cool things coming out very, very soon. I've been working on. I do have some workout plans, basically some one-off buy, like you buy it and it's yours forever, but not just like the typical training plans, you know, like proper in-depth for your circumstance. So if you're a quad dominant girly, there will be a plan for you. If you're like vice versa, there will be a plan for you, like very intricate plans on its way. The next point is, are you really doing enough? So you might actually be doing way less volume than you actually need to do. And this was my thing as well. I got to a point where I had injured myself, this was years ago, and I kind of got like a bit scared of volume. So I would just reel it right back down and my glutes just weren't growing, and I figured out that I just wasn't doing enough volume. I was trying to not injure myself, but then at the same time just completely not hitting the mark on where I needed to be volume wise. So that is massive, guys. Make sure you're doing enough. Like you should really, really, really be pushing yourself when you're in the gym. Like it should not be an easy workout unless you're in like a deload week or a deload phase where you're purposely going lighter for recovery reasons, and I can do another video about that if you guys want me to. But yeah, you should really, really be pushing yourself. And I honestly go to failure every single workout pretty much. Not every single exercise, but definitely my main key exercises. So hip thrust, every single time I do hip thrust, I will go to failure. Not absolute failure, technical failure, because there is a difference. Absolute failure is where like if someone put a gun to your head, like you absolutely could not do another rep. And technical failure is like where you could potentially do another rep, but like it's almost impossible. Like it's really, really difficult and you're massively struggling and you'd have to like pop a baby out in order to get the weights up, if that makes sense. Like with the amount of tension that you're just like I actually butchered that explanation. If you still feel like you finished the reps and the sets and you could have done even one more, you need to be either doing more reps or increasing the weight, which we'll also get into in a minute. Oh, and that perfectly leads us on to our next segment, which is you must be progressively overloading. I've hammered this into you guys so many times. I am probably the biggest fanatic and the biggest like raver for progressive overload ever. I think I've probably spoken about it more times than I should have. Yeah, if I had a penny for every time I said progressive overload, I would be filthy stinking rich. Comfort is the single-handedly biggest killer of glute gains by far. It will kill them off. It will shred every piece of muscle cell from your body and not bring them back if you are just in a comfortable place in the gym. I don't know what these descriptions are today. I'm so sorry. My brain is clearly like either extremely creative or just lagging out a little bit. I don't know. So progressive overload is probably the most important thing ever. You need to be, you know, increasing either time under tension, the volume, the weights. Like you need to be increasing something week to week in order to make sure that your glutes don't plateau and don't like stagnate in their progress like journey. They'll grow to an extent, like a point, but then they'll just stop because they have no more reason to grow. They already have the sufficient amount of muscle to handle what you are giving them. You know, they're just sat there like, well, why would I tear myself apart when I'm fine just as I am? I made a video actually ages ago and of like my glute workout, and I remember this girl commenting. Well, someone commented and said, you're so boring with your workouts. You always just do the same stuff over and over and over and over and over again. But the most boring workouts are the best workouts, because if you can consistently do the same exercises again and again and again through a set period, you know, 6 to 8 weeks, 6 to 12 weeks, whatever, that is where you can actually track your progress. If you're coming into the gym and every single gym session you're doing a different exercise, how are you possibly gonna keep track and write down your weights and write down the reps and the sets and make sure that you've actually improved from the last week? You can't possibly do that because the exercises are constantly changing, and you know, a set on hip thrust is not going to be like the same as a set on glute bridges, for example. Sure, they might be similar, but you can't actually make sure to be progressively overloading unless you have the same workouts. So yes, technically it's boring. All of the workouts that you'll find on Instagram, not all, but a lot of them, you know, YouTube especially, I think is really bad for it, like bubble butt in 2 days, like whatever those are, like where they're literally just doing like 20 different exercises on their floor. You're never gonna grow from that. Like I promise you now, that will do absolutely nothing. It'll be good exercise, just healthy for you. Will your glutes actually grow from them? Will you actually see proper progress from them? Absolutely not. There's just no way, because it's not doing enough. Like you're not progressively overloading. Reese does this all the time, my boyfriend. He'll go into the gym and he'll just do random exercises and I'm like, like it's aggravating because I'm like, you need to be progressively overloading. Obviously I understand the other side of it too, like you want the workouts to be fun and doing different things and trying this out and trying that out, but if you want to do that and just have your workouts be fun and not expect anything from them, by all means. Like I think that's where Reese is at. He likes going to the gym, just doesn't really care so much about making X, Y, and Z progress. He just enjoys having some exercise. And if that's you, that's absolutely fine. I'll stop bugging you about it. But if you want to see proper glute progress, please don't do that. It will just not get you anywhere. It will just waste your time, really. If progress is what you're after, not just having a fun time, then it's just pointless. Some of the most boring workouts, like I've got a set 4 to 8 exercises that I cycle in between. But I'll only change my exercises like every 3 months. Yes, it does get boring by the end of it. Having to like go in and do hip thrusts first thing. Yes, sometimes I want to change that around, but do I know that that is the best for my glute growth? Yes. So do I do it? Also yes. Let there be light. Woo! Anyone who's also in the UK, can you relate to just no sunlight ever? Brings us on to number 4, which is rest and recovery. So what happens when we go to the gym is our muscles tear. They literally break. They completely come apart when we're pushing them in exercises and when we're lifting heavy weights. And then you would think that it's in the gym that we build our glutes, but it's actually not. It's actually not at all. So we obviously make all these micro tears, not actually, you know, massive tears, that would be bad, but we make all these little micro tears when we're working out and when we're training. When they recover and when they repair, they come back together, but a little bit bigger than they were last time. And we keep doing that over time, and boom, we have glutes the size of the moon, which is the goal. But if we, you know, if we rip them apart, cause all these micro tears, and then the next day go back in the gym, cause more micro tears, and then the next day come back in the gym, cause more micro tears, and so on, we're literally doing the opposite to them because we're not letting them actually come back together, so they're not growing. Glutes don't grow in the gym. They grow at home when you sleep, when you're just going about your day, and when you're resting, recovering, refeeding, eating, getting loads of nutritious food, protein. Like, that is where your glutes will grow. The gym is the catalyst of the growth. So the gym causes the micro tears, but then the rest and recovery is what causes it to build back again bigger. So if we're not allowing any repair time or any, you know, time for you to actually recover and for your muscle to actually build itself back up, it's just constantly in like the torn part. It's never actually recovered. It's never actually bigger, in which case you are literally wasting time. You are not going to see any progress, and you're just going to stay in the needing repair zone, and you're not going to get any glute gains, or they're going to be extremely slow. So something I like to do is I train glutes, I train lower body twice a week, and these are like heavy sessions. So I will be in the gym for like 2 hours plus, a long time, but they're like really intense to failure, push myself absolute max twice a week. That is my current gym situation. But you might not want to do that. You might not want to be in the gym for 2 hours, or you might not want to, you know, put that much effort in every time you go. Maybe you want to go 3 times a week. 3 times a week is absolutely fine if you're not going as hard as you would be twice a week. Let's say you're not doing as many exercises. You're still going hard on the exercises that you are doing, but you're not doing as many exercises. You're breaking up those 2 days of exercises into 3 days. But any more than that, you start to get into tricky territory, because it does actually take your glutes, you know, a day or 2 to repair themselves. So if there's not a day or 2 at least in between each workout, that is going to be a massive problem. I suggest 2 days in between each workout at least, to really give them like the full chance to get back together. But yeah, that is probably number 1 biggest mistake that people make, because they think that the more they do, the better. And technically yes, but there is a limit to that. So just stay behind the limit, you know. Make sure to rest and recover. Don't know what that was, but something just made a massive noise like in the walls of this building. That's sometimes scares me, like the noises I hear, or like if it's really, really windy. I remember like there was like a storm or a hurricane or something, and I could hear the building like slightly just making these noises, and it made me honestly so anxious. I'm like, is the building gonna collapse on me right now? Talking about buildings, actually, I have some crazy news coming up in my personal life that I just blows my mind. I don't know whether to share it on here or not. I don't know if you guys want to see it, but please let me know if you do. That's coming very soon, like within the next couple of weeks. Let me know if you guys want to hear about some of my personal stuff, because obviously I know it's very fitnessy on here, but yeah. Anyways, point number 5 is mind to muscle connection. This is a huge one because I feel like it's so easy to go through the motions when you're at the gym, you know, like 1 rep, 2 rep, 3 rep, like, okay, I'm done. Like, it's very easy to do that, but I think once you actually, this is gonna sound so like ET, but once you actually like connect with the muscle, you know, you close your eyes and you you feel the muscle, and you can like almost picture it in your mind lifting the weight up. This sounds so like hocus pocus, but I swear to you, there is science behind this. So if you don't believe me, please do look it up. But mind to muscle connection, massive one, massive, 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 bigger than you might think. There was even a study done, I think I mentioned this in a previous YouTube video actually, there was even a study done where they took a bunch of bodybuilders, a bunch of people, some trained in the gym and some trained through their mind. That sounds so ridiculous. But some would be home and they would just basically close their eyes and like picture themselves lifting up weight, or you know, squatting. They would picture themselves squatting or like curling or bench pressing or whatever. Those same exact muscles were actually activated the exact same amount, like when they were just at home. So that is the most mind-blowing thing I've ever heard. And it just goes to show how much power your brain has over your muscles. Like it literally, nothing like even does anything without your brain. Like your brain is the most important part to this whole situation. So mind to muscle connection is so much more important than you might think. Really picturing, like let's say your glutes when you're hip thrusting, really like closing your eyes and like picturing them just thrusting the weight up and pushing it up and like driving through your hips rather than just trying to just get the weight up, because you end up actually involving either different muscles or more of like your actual system, like your bones and other things. Even in just your like glute activation will go from 0 to 1,000,000 just by doing this one point, making sure you're thinking about your glutes. Well, that's why activation's good, and people like rave on about activation, and it is fine, but it just gets you thinking about the muscle. Activation is still good if you've got stubborn glutes. I won't negate that for sure, but yeah, mind muscle connection is very important. Number 6 is food. Now this is, I keep saying these are so important, but genuinely, like, I think all of these are just as important as each other. Like, you really can't do one and not the other. Like, you have to do them all in unison if you really want the best progress and the best outcome. But food is so vital, so crucial. As you all know, and I haven't shut up about for ages, I've just done a bulk, and oh my god, like it's just absolutely insane how much muscle you can build when you bulk and when you're eating enough for your muscles to grow. Because when you're eating in a caloric deficit or you're just trying to do body recomposition, I, you know, love body recomposition. There is a place and a time for it. You definitely can lose fat and gain weight at the same time, of course, but it's very, very slow, like I mentioned in my last video. And bulking, it's just, I love bulking. I love bulking. I do have a love-hate relationship with it, because obviously you do gain fat as well at the same time, depending on the bulk. If you do like a bit of an intense bulk or a very long bulk, you will gain some fat. That's just how it goes. But wow, 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 wow.
Whoa, 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 high five.
Like, bulking will give you insane glute gains, especially with if you pair it with everything else. Like, holy cow, it's really, 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 truly amazing. So food is really, really important. You need to be at maintenance or above maintenance in order to gain muscle. You will not gain muscle at all if you are in a calorie deficit. If you're eating below maintenance calories, you will not be gaining muscle. That's just simply, it's simply science. You just cannot. Your body needs that fuel to then use it for other things. It will draw from that fuel rather than give it to your muscles. So yeah, very, very, very important. If you want to lose fat but you also really want to gain your glutes, for example, which one's more important to you? Pick the one that's more important to you, that's more of a priority, that's more, you know, you want it a bit faster, and then do the other one after. Let's say that you have a lot of glute growth to do, or you want to add, you know, 5 pounds of muscle, pure muscle mass, and you don't really have too much fat to lose, then probably just go into a bulk. If you do have quite a bit of fat that you want to lose, but you also still want to grow your glutes a bit, but you're not like, they're kind of 50-50, like you want them both as equally, and you don't have too much to do either end, do a body recomp. It'll be slower, but you'll kind of reap both rewards slowly at the same time. So yeah, it kind of depends on the person. It depends what your situation is. If you have a specific situation, comment it down below and I'll get back to you on what I think you should do. I always reply to like all the comments in the comment box, especially like a week or two or even like a month after I posted the video. I am so glad to be back on YouTube consistently again. I say this all the time, but I actually have been consistent. I've been uploading every single Friday, as you girlies know, 6 p.m. UK time on Fridays. I've got so many good videos coming up soon. You guys have been asking a lot about the fasting video, and I promise you that's coming. I've gotten so many questions about it since my like short or reel on Bela's Fit Guide. Also, this is my 2 Instagrams, by the way, too, Bela's Fit Guide and my main page. I'll kind of keep everything updated on there. I know you guys have been asking, and it is coming. I'm just gathering the amount of information I need for it. Like, I really want it to be in depth and a good video. I don't just want to put it out for the sake of putting it out, if that makes sense. So it's coming, just patience. It'll be here soon. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I love you all so much. Please leave a comment down below and I'll get back to you. Let's have a little chit chat in the comment section. And yeah, I hope you have a lovely weekend. I think it'll be the weekend. Yeah, it'll be Friday, so you'll have a lovely weekend, and I will see you next Friday. Bye bye.